Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that Puerto Rican artist Bad Bunny is going to be headlining the Super Bowl halftime show in 2026. So if you have no idea who Bad Bunny is, or you don't listen to reggaeton, and you want to make sure that you are not completely lost during the Super Bowl halftime show, this episode is for you. I talked to Puerto Rican linguist Adriana Lopez, and we break down one of Bad Bunny's iconic songs that you will definitely hear during the halftime show. Entonces, vamos a empezar. Let's get started.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to the Learn Spanish con Salsa podcast,
the show for Spanish learners
that love music,
travel, and culture.
Close your grammar textbooks,
shut down the language apps, and open your ears
to how Spanish is spoken in the real world.
Let us show you
how to go from beginner
to bilingual.
Here is your host,
certified language coach,
Tamara Marie.
Hola, bienvenidos al episodio 238. Welcome to episode 238 of the Learn Spanish con Salsa podcast. In this episode, we are sharing some Puerto Rican Spanish from one of Bad Bunny's iconic songs, NUEVAYoL, or NUEVAYoL, or Nueva York, or just New York. So this song was on his latest album, Debí tirar más fotos, which means I should have taken more pictures. And the reason why we're covering this song is not only because Bad Bunny famously is going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show this year, but also because it is an homage to salsa music and all different types of Puerto Rican music. So normally reggaeton is not my go-to. After all, this is Learn Spanish con Salsa. But we did do the Bad Bunny song earlier this year, or last year at this point, that was all about really salsa dancing, right? It was Baile Inolvidable, or Unforgettable Dance. We did cover that song as well. And this song, NUEVAYoL, is another homage to not just salsa music, but also other genres of music that we'll get into in the episode. I'm talking to Adriana, who is from Puerto Rico. She lives there now. She has studied linguistics, and she is a wealth of knowledge and information, not only about Puerto Rican Spanish, but also the accent and some of the history behind why things are said the way that they're said. I know sometimes, people have this hierarchy of accents, and they think, oh, if you're from this place, you sound funny, or you talk different, or it's slang, or it's improper Spanish. But as you know, in this podcast, we don't pay attention to any of that nonsense. We respect people and culture, and every way of speaking the language is a valid way of speaking it. And we explore some of the reasons why Bad Bunny, who is unapologetically Puerto Rican, he makes these choices that he makes in the song, and how much you really can learn about Puerto Rican music and culture just in the lyrics. So this song, Nueva York, is actually also sort of a remake, or a remix, I guess you could say, from a song by El Gran de Puerto Rico, which is actually a salsa song from the 70s. And that song is called Un Verano en Nueva York. So summer in New York. And so he uses that song for, I say, I don't know, a good portion of this, but he also does switch it up into some different genres. So this is an excellent song if you're not familiar with Bad Bunny or reggaeton, or if you're just not familiar with Puerto Rico and you want to learn more about Puerto Rican culture. Even through this conversation, Adriana and I, we both learned some new things that we didn't know about salsa music and about Puerto Rican culture. So it's really a fascinating song. So I really want you to listen to this if you haven't already. As always, you can go to our show notes page at learnspanishconsalsa.com/238 for episode 238, and you'll be able to get the song lyrics as well as see the video for this song. So this is actually going to be a two-part conversation. Adriana and I got really deep here, so I'm sure you're going to love this. We also are going to post the full video, the full-length conversation on our YouTube channel. We'll include that link in the show notes as well. So learnspanishconsalsa.com/238 to get all of those details. And without further delay, here is my conversation with Adriana Lopez. Hola, Adriana. Bienvenida al podcast Learn Spanish con Salsa.
Hola, gracias por tenerme. Thanks for having me.
Adriana, so I just wanted you to just introduce yourself for our audience, for folks who might not know about you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with Puerto Rican Spanish.
So I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. My family is originally from Gurabo. I am now currently living in San Juan, but I was living abroad for a time. So I did my bachelor's degree in Puerto Rico. So I spent all my childhood, all the way until university here in Puerto Rico. And then for my master's degree is when I moved out from the island for the first time. So from there, I went to Europe to study applied linguistics. So that is my master's. And then after that, I spent some years traveling and teaching English and Spanish in Europe. So that's where I really started to really fall in love with Puerto Rican Spanish and Spanish as a whole, because I started teaching it. I also have an Instagram page, and it's all about Puerto Rican Spanish. So I also talk about Puerto Rican words and Puerto Rican phrases. So that one is called Idiomas Coqui. You can find us on Instagram and on Facebook.
I do think it's interesting because the first time I went to Puerto Rico, I know that, I had this idea in my head, like I think most like native English speakers, like, oh, I learned some Spanish in high school or whatever, and like I'll be fine. And I just know like it's so different. There's so many different things about Puerto Rican Spanish that are different. And for me, the reason why I love it so much, one, I love like the rhythm of the language, but also because I love salsa. Of course, this is Learn Spanish con Salsa. So I started learning how to dance. I was listening to the music and I wanted to know what it meant. And one of the things for me that's so powerful about learning through music is not only do you learn, phrases and things like that, you learn a little bit of grammar, but you also learn about the people and the culture, which I think is the most important part, because I think learning a language is to be good at grammar and to say you have like, I don't know, like level C1 or whatever in 20 languages. Like, that's great.
Yeah,
but if you
kind of the standard, that's how you know that you know a language for sure.
Yeah. But then it's like, if you go somewhere and you can't speak to people, it's like, what was the point of doing that? So I love it for that reason. And also being from the US, like I don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like a very accessible Spanish speaking country, I would say. But not a lot of people or a lot of Puerto Ricans like to bash on our Puerto Rican Spanish because we don't think it's proper. So
Right.
A lot of the time, a lot of people will say things like, don't teach Puerto Rican Spanish. It's not, you need to teach proper Spanish. And then proper Spanish is what people learn. And then they feel like they're not able to talk to us because, again, we don't speak this textbook proper Spanish. We speak our Spanish that has its own sazon. It has its own flavor. It has its own history. Just like any other variety of Spanish, it has its own history, its own influences, and all of that impacts the music and the language. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to learn context too, right? So obviously, if you're learning Spanish for work or you're in a professional setting, you're not gonna, go in there and say, "Oh, I need to learn how to talk like Bad Bunny." Like that's not a thing.
Precisely, exactly.
But
everything. Why are you learning the language? Are you
Right.
learning to speak with family and friends? Are you learning for work? Are you learning for studies? That's the beauty of language. Like we need it for a purpose, right? It serves a purpose.
Yeah, and even if you are learning for work, you do have to leave work at some time, right? So
Exactly.
you have to talk to people when you're on break, when you're out, so I think that it's important to understand both. But I also think it's just important to be interested in what you're learning. So I know for me, if I was learning for work, I probably wouldn't have gotten very far. But because I love the culture, I love the music, it just sort of naturally draws you in. And I think it's also a critical time now that we're talking about this because with the Super Bowl coming up here,
Sure. I mean, I think I've heard more people call it the Bad Bunny Bowl.
Yeah, I've heard of Benito Bowl. There's like a party going on, like a Bonito Bowl.
No, for sure. People are super excited for Bad Bunny, which makes me happy because again, people are excited for Puerto Rican music because again, this Bad Bunny is a very versatile artist. He's made reggaeton albums. He's made albums that were full trap music, like Latino trap music. He's made albums where he touches upon like different genres, but this one was special because it was all Puerto Rican beats, Puerto Rican music in all of its shapes and forms, like salsa and bolero and reggaeton and dembow and all of it, all at
Everything.
once. So I'm very excited that people are excited to hear about all of the music that Puerto Rico has to offer.
Yeah, and I loved it too because I felt like it was more like an homage to all of the different genres of music from Puerto Rico, and also those that, like, when you go there now, it's like, oh, that's what the old people listen to. You know, it's like, oh, my parents know how to dance salsa. I don't. Like, I even saw Bad Bunny in an interview. He was like, yeah, I was actually learning how to dance salsa.
For sure. Which, I mean, we see all of that. I mean, not only in the whole album, but also NUEVAYoL, which is the first song of this album. You see that plain as day. Kind of like, that's the whole... I feel like that not only is it a cultural connection with people who are living in the U.S., like what we call a diaspora, Puerto Rican, but also, right, connecting generations of people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very nice thing. I feel like it's a very beautiful thing, and you can really see the amount of love and effort that he put into that particular album and the concerts and the tour and everything involved in that project of Debí Tirar Más Fotos is pure love and effort, and
absolutely. So let's get into it. Let's talk about then the lyrics to the song Okay, so we have to first start talking about it with just the name of the song, right?
For sure. I mean,
so the song is NUEVAYoL.
NUEVAYoL, right? So NUEVAYoL, the title. Of course, it's the Puerto Rican pronunciation of Nueva York, which means New York in Spanish, right? We call it Nueva York, and Puerto Ricans, we shorten it and we just call it NUEVAYoL.
And also that yol, like, to me, I always laugh because I think it's so hard to talk that way. I was like, how are they replacing the R with an L? It's so like difficult. Yeah. So it's a shortening, but it's also we're actually changing that R to an L.
Yeah, it's that effort of trying to say York, which is not a Spanish word. We're just trying to pronounce it as best as we can. And it just ends up sounding like Yol, especially the more your accent is pronounced, right? The heavier the accent, the more you're going to sound like NUEVAYoL. The lesser your accent is, then you'll probably sound like Nueva York. And then you just have the LK. So it depends on the accent. But yeah, a lot of people just say Nueva York.
And it also kind of trails off at the end, so it's like you don't really hear. You kind of get the idea, right?
Yeah. But it also is a very common occurrence because the R sound and the L sound are both in the same part of the mouth. It's in the front of the mouth, and you're doing the same thing with your tongue. Because when you're pronouncing the L, you just push the top of your tongue against the back of your teeth on the top. So you just go, But then you're doing the same thing with the R, just r. So you're just tapping it multiple times on the top of the mouth. So it's a very common occurrence that not only in Spanish, but other languages, you'll have this kind of switch between the R and the L. That's kind of a linguistic thing that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and I think another thing for English speakers that don't get that, because our letter R is not at all pronounced that way. So when we see R, we're like, R, and our mouth is open, and it's not, the tongue is not where it needs to be. And we're like, why can't I talk like that? It's like, because you have the L and R. So, all right, let's get started then with the lyrics of this song. So he's talking all about, New York, right? Like, so New Yorkans, Puerto Ricans live in New York, just kind of the experience. Yeah. And I think, is it this video where it starts off where he asks, like,
y este frío.
Y este frío, ¿cuándo se acaba?
For sure. I mean, you can kind of see like a lot in those, like the parentheses are kind of showing up in multiple parts of the song, especially in that beginning when they start with this song of El Gran Combo. So it does start with a salsa song. So it starts with Un Verano en Nueva York, which is a song from El Gran Combo de Puerto Rico. And it's a very famous salsa song, and it's also ties in with the theme of Nueva York, right? We're talking about the diaspora, we're talking about the people who moved from Puerto Rico to New York and to establish their families, who ended up living there. And they were, obviously, when they get there, they're not used to the cold. Por eso, y este frío, ¿cuándo se acaba?
Uh-huh.
Kind of hear that because that's the general complaint of Puerto Ricans moving to New York. It's exciting, it's new, you're there for brand new opportunities, and then it's really freaking cold.
which for me is so very true today, which is why normally a week like this, I would be in Puerto Rico myself, but I had to shovel snow this morning. So this is where I am. I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, "Ese frío.
Frío, ¿cuándo se acaba?" Right?
Like, when is it going to end, right? When is this over, right? So,
but I like those parentheses because then it kind of showcases the experience of like the person first moving to New York. And it's kind of like, oh my God, it's so cold. When does this end? I don't know when, like, this whole season's changed. The seasons don't really change in Puerto Rico. It's summer all year long. I mean, sure, you have more, right? In our summer, it's a lot hotter. It's a lot drier. And then in the winter, it's a little bit colder. It's rainier. But in general, it's tropical season. So it's always summer. It's always hot. It's never that cold. It never snows in Puerto Rico. So all of these other new experiences when you move abroad are kind of represented by those parentheses that he includes in the beginning while he's playing this, this salsa song. And I'm going to bring it up later because I feel like that also kind of connects the different generations. Because again, this is a song about the Puerto Rican diaspora, like 21st century Puerto Rican diaspora that's still in New York. But with El Gran Combo and the song Un Verano en Nueva York, that's also the experience of the diaspora, but back in the 70s. So it also connects generations of Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, right? This is not a new occurrence. Puerto Ricans have been living in New York for, I feel like, a century at this point, because we started moving when we got citizenship, which was in the early 1900s. It was 1917 when they officially made the Jones Act and we got American citizenship as Puerto Ricans. So a lot of people started moving from that point, right? So again, we have mass, right? This is not the first time that there's been mass migration of Puerto Ricans. Mass migrations have been happening over time. So it's nice to connect like previous mass migrations to current mass migrations and kind of share in that experience of needing to leave your island for a variety of reasons. But then also connecting with people who are from your country or other countries. Because again, this song is not only about Puerto Ricans, it's about Dominicans, it's about Colombians, it's about Latinos in New York in general. So it's about finding that community away, it's that home away from home.
Right.
That's what it's really about. And again, Un Verano en Nueva York in the 70s was very influential. And now this song is also very influential nowadays, right? And in that moment, salsa was the predominant Latino music genre. So there was that salsa song, Un Verano en Nueva York. And nowadays with dembow and reggaeton, those are the very influential Latino music in the US as well, in the Latino communities of the US. So it all kind of, it matches up pretty nicely where you have this salsa song that was very influential and it was played a lot in the diaspora in New York around the 70s, and now you have this other song in the 2020s that is kind of doing the same thing in that modern context, because again, they're using modern beats as well.
Right. Yeah. And I love the mix of it too, because when it starts out with salsa and then you hear this different mix of rhythms, but it's definitely a song you can dance to, which I think is the most important. Right?
Duh. Okay. I mean, it's never a Bad Bunny song if you can't dance to it.
Right. All right, so let's start with the first line of the song.
So tenemos, si te quieres divertir, con encanto y con primor. ¿Verdad? So this is just, right, if you want to have fun with lots of charm and kind of like very, like, you used a really nice
beauty.
Word.
Like
beautiful, like beauty, like splendor, right? That kind of thing. So it's like if you really want to have fun with beauty, with splendor, with charm, and then it follows through with the next one, ¿verdad? So tienes que vivir a dónde, right? Someone who's never, maybe this is their first time, like maybe this sounds a little bit like someone's recommending New York and they're like, where should I move? Like, should I go for it, right? ¿A dónde? And then Un Verano en Nueva York, ¿verdad? And then you hear that excitement, right? Nueva York, right?
And also un verano in Nueva York, not un invierno.
No, for sure.
El invierno in Nueva York, you never come back.
We're not going to mention exactly. That's not the selling point, right? The selling point is summer in New York, but not winter in New York. But yeah. And then we have 4 de Julio, 4th of July, ando con mi prima, borracha rulay, ¿verdad? So again, just like the music video, it came out on this date, right? So 4 de Julio, the 4th of July, it's American Independence Day, right? I'm with my cousin, in this case, a female cousin, prima. Borracha, ¿verdad? We're drunk. Y rulay is actually more of a Dominican word that we started using a lot in Puerto Rico. And it just means like ready to party, getting loose. You're a little bit probably under the influence of alcohol.
It's like pre-gaming has happened.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-gaming has happened. Pre-gaming has taken place. So you're kind of like ready to party. You're in this kind of hyped up mood, and it's the 4th of July, so it kind of makes sense also because you're already partying.
And this ando comes from the verb andar, right? So is that like I'm going out with my cousin? Like we're just kind of hanging out together.
Yeah, exactly. We're hanging out together, like we're going out together. So it's kind of like you're signaling that you are in a group of people. So it's kind of like I'm hanging out with my cousins. So if you want to hang out, it's like you're going to hang out with us, like as a group.
Sí. Yo tengo una pregunta sobre ese 4th of July. First of all, it's funny in the song. It happens even in the song with El Gran Combo. For me, when I first started learning, it was very confusing because of the Spanglish. And for me, because the accent is tan fuerte, I was like, wait, what was that word? I'm thinking in Spanish, and then I can't hear the English because it sounds so different. But it's like just throw it in. It's like 4 de Julio, 4th of July. And you're like, wait, what just happened? So that's one thing, right? It's like that Spanglish. But also, do you guys celebrate 4th of July in Puerto Rico? Because I remember one year, I randomly decided to get on a plane. I was like, I just need to go somewhere. 4th of July. I just took a flight to San Juan. And I remember going there and like, wait, there's no fireworks. It's like nobody cared. Like, because
basically,
does anybody celebrate 4th of July in Puerto Rico?
It is an official holiday. Like, do people get the day off from work on the 4th of July? Like, it is an official holiday in Puerto Rico because, again, we're part of the United States. So we conserve the day as a day off. But nobody really cares. So it's more of you celebrate it in your circles if you wish, like in your own social circles if you wish. But mostly people, what they do is they take the day and they usually go to the beach. That's mostly what we do. It's the middle of summer. It's July. Kids are already free from school, so they are in summer vacation already. So yeah, people are just kind of like, great, I have the day off, so I'm just gonna go to the beach with my kids, or I'm gonna go and hang out with my family. So we treat it kind of as a normal day. Some people do the whole fireworks situation, but it's not as big of a deal as the US.
So, it's not like here because like in New York, there would be like fireworks and like parades and stuff like that. So it is very different. Because I remember feeling that. I said, oh, this is interesting. Okay. And because this year also 4th of July is going to be different here because it's the 250th anniversary of the United States. Sure. Hopefully not the last, but that's another story. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how 4th of July is in New York this year. All right.
But yeah, for sure. But Puerto Ricans, we kind of we like it because it's another day off that we don't have to work and stuff like that. But it's not as big of a deal as it is in the US.
Right. All right.
Ya los míos en el Bronx saben la que hay, ¿verdad? So my people in the Bronx, they know what's up, right? So it's kind of like showing that they have friends or they've created a community already in the Bronx.
And los míos is like mine, like literally like, those of mine, my people, right?
People.
And this la que hay, that's like really Puerto Rican, right? This whole la que hay, que la que hay.
La que hay. For sure. And saben la que hay, so we use it in that sort of sense of like what's up, so they know what's up, or that kind of phrasing. So que es la que hay is what's up, so you can go up to someone and be like, huepa, que es la que hay. And it's kind of like, hey, what's up, what's going on? So like los míos en el Bronx saben la que hay is like my people, so my friends, my chosen family, whatever have you. You could also just call your family, like your real family, los míos. ¿Verdad? Saben la que hay? It's kind of like, my people know what's up. in the Bronx.
Yeah. And this is one of the things I always tell people, like, stop trying to translate like literally word for word, because if you start doing that, you get lost.
Yeah, it's not going to work out in the end. Because again, these are different languages, and languages are not only composed of words, but they're also composed of different connotations and like other subjective meaning and historical influences as well. So that's why translations never really pan out, because people change the meaning of things depending on the history, on the context of the connotation of different words. Right. So literal translation can get a little tricky, especially when you're not saying things literally, because like when you say los míos, you're not talking about owning people. Like that would be weird if you just translate.
Maybe something different.
Very different, very weird. But in this case, it's just more like my people, like the people that I love, the people that I cherish. So definitely, especially with Bad Bunny songs, I don't recommend literally translating. Okay. Con la nota en high for Washington Heights, Willy Colón me dicen el malo, ¿verdad? So con la nota en high, ¿verdad? So la nota is when we get under the influence, usually of drugs. So in this case, he's probably maybe talking about weed. Like usually we say like la nota, but it can also be alcohol or other substances. So con la nota en high, so it's like I'm at the peak of my high. Like
in high is also the Spanglish, right? Because
so it's part of that Spanglish, right? So con la nota en high, es como, right? We use high to mean that it's at its peak, right? So con la nota en high for Washington Heights, ¿verdad? Washington Heights, New York, ¿verdad? Willy Colón, ¿verdad? So Willy Colón is actually he was born in New York, but his parents are Puerto Rican, right? So we also consider that, right? New Yorican or Puerto Rican as well, ¿verdad? So Willy Colón is a salsa artist, right? So he's a salsa artist who is American Puerto Rican, right? So, and he was the first salsa artist that really depicted himself as sort of like a gangster in his album covers. So he went for more of a gangster image. So that's why they start comparing Willy Colón with Bad Bunny, because they both have this sort of gangster image. So that's why he says also like me dicen el malo, ¿verdad? Willy Colón me dicen el malo, because he's Bad Bunny, and Willy Colón had this kind of like bad boy, like gangster image in his album covers. So he kind of compares himself with Willy Colón in that way.
So that me dicen el malo is like they're saying like I'm the bad guy or I'm the bad one.
Exacto. For sure. ¿Verdad? Porque pasan los años y sigo dando palos, vendiendo discos como cuadro de Frida Kahlo, ¿verdad? So
lots of references there.
Right? So as the years go by, I still give lots and lots of hits, ¿verdad? Sigo dando palo. This phrase is kind of like I keep hitting, ¿verdad? I keep hitting, I keep doing it again, right? So this is this sort of sensation of like I keep succeeding, I keep pushing out good music, right? People like my music, right? Sigo dando palo. So it's kind of like I keep pushing out hits, right? In this case. Vendiendo disco, right? Selling albums, como cuadro de Frida Kahlo, ¿verdad? So like Frida Kahlo paintings. So we all know Frida Kahlo. She's a very famous Mexican artist. So here we have kind of a Mexican reference as well. So we're going to see lots of references of like American Puerto Rican artists, Mexicans, Dominicans as well. So this song is full of like Latin American references. So so he compares his music, like the hits of his music and his popularity, to the popularity of Frida Kahlo's paintings.
And I literally just saw a painting of Frida Kahlo. And if you don't know, it's like that. I always call it like the unibrow kind of thing. I was in Florida of all places, and I was just like at a restaurant. And I was like, it's Frida Kahlo. So yeah, she's still selling paintings, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, her image is everywhere. ¿Verdad? So el perico es blanco, sí, el tusi rosita, ¿verdad? So I actually had to look up tusi because I didn't know what that was. Pero now I know, ¿verdad? So el perico is another word for cocaine, right? So el perico es blanco means like, cocaine is white. So he's just kind of describing it as it is. And then el tusi, ¿verdad? So el tusi is another type of substance or drug, right? So it's referred to as the pink cocaine. So, right, so he's kind of playing around with these like substances that are typically associated also with Latin Americans, because cocaine is associated with Latin crimes and Latin narcos, right? If you think narcos, you instantly think Colombians and you think Latinos, right? So he's kind of using that to his advantage, and later on he kind of backtracks and he's like, best to avoid that. you know?
So perico, tú sí, pero la palabra es cocaína, right?
Exactly. That is the proper word, right? Cocaína is the substance, cocaine. Like, you can translate that literally, yes.
Yeah, but we don't want to, like, we don't need to learn those. Like, let's go to the next one.
So then that's why he goes on to say, right, no te confundas. No, it's like, no, we're not stepping into those stereotypes. We're not doing that, right? Mejor evita. And it's like, it's best to avoid, right? So it's best to avoid that.
So that no te confundas is like, don't get it confused, right?
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it confused.
Right.
Exactly.
Mejor evita. So that's remember that line more than the previous line.
Exacto. If you learn anything, ¿verdad? So now you know the words and it's like, mejor evita. So now you know, avoid it.
En evitas from evitar, to avoid.
Exactly. ¿Verdad? Un shot de cañita en casa de Toñita, PR se siente cerquita, ¿verdad? Sí. So shot, again, another English word. So that is like drinking alcohol, just like the Pitbull song, right? Shots, right? Shots, so un shot de cañita. Cañita is a type of moonshine that we make in Puerto Rico. So it's homemade liquor. You can also compare it to pitorro, right? So pitorro, cañita, it's usually kind of in the same area because, again, pitorro is another type of, I don't even know if the two are the same or not, or if it has some kind of difference, because pitorro can be made from so many things. Right. You just have to, like, you can make pitorro de tamarindo, de coco, de piña, like, so one of those types is probably the one that you're referring to. Y, ¿verdad? En casa de Toñita. So Toñita is actually a very famous social club in New York, and it's called Toñita's Caribbean Social Club. So it's actually been there for a really long time. I don't know when it was opened, but basically it's always been a place where Latinos and Puerto Ricans can feel at home, right? So it's kind of that, again, that feeling of home away from home, because I go to Toñitas and I drink cañita, which is something that is very familiar to us as a liquor, and right, PR feels close, right? So you start to feel like you're at home.
So that se siente cerquita, it's like it feels close. And cerquita also, this is also like very common, right, in Caribbean Spanish, use of the diminutive, because this is from the word cerca, cerca, which means close to, but this is cerquita.
Yeah, so. And also Toñita. Toñita is another diminutive. True. Because it should be Toña. Toña is kind of like a nickname for women who are named Antonia.
Okay.
So probably Toñita's full name is Antonia. But we use the diminutive as well to kind of signify that kind of closeness. So if somebody lets you call her Toñita, it's probably because you're close and you see them as someone that you care about, that you cherish. So Toñita, ¿verdad? And then cerquita, ¿verdad? So PR se siente cerquita. But yeah, we use the diminutive a lot in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's like a nickname of a nickname.
Exactly, kind of, yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed our conversation so far. This is just part one. We are going to get into the rest of the song lyrics, as well as share some specific Puerto Rican Spanish words from the song in our next episode. So if you want to make sure that you're the first one that knows when we drop that new episode, make sure you subscribe or follow our podcast on Spotify. If you're using a different platform, just make sure you're following or you're subscribed. Go to learnspanishconsalsa.com as well. If you want to sign up for our email list, we always send out other bonuses and educational resources for you to go deeper into your Spanish. And if you want to learn more about Puerto Rican Spanish, you can go to our website, learnspanishconsalsa.com. If you go to the categories, you can search for Puerto Rico, or you can look for learnspanishconsalsa.com/Bad Bunny if you want to hear all of the episodes and all of the songs that we've covered with the different lyrics and the Puerto Rican Spanish from those songs. We also do have our Puerto Rican Spanish 101 course. So this course teaches you conversational Puerto Rican Spanish. It's actually made by Puerto Ricans from the island of Puerto Rico, and you get to learn through dialogues with real people. You learn vocabulary. You also get, when you sign up for the course for free, our Puerto Rican Spanish 101 bilingual dictionary and guide for travelers. This has over 100 unique phrases for Boricua. So this is the other name for Puerto Ricans or Puerto Ricanos. So that has, again, a wealth of resources. So if you're thinking about visiting Puerto Rico, which if you're a U.S. citizen, you don't need a passport to visit, or if you just have some curiosity and you want to learn more about the music from Puerto Rico, I definitely recommend our Puerto Rican Spanish 101 course. Again, we'll link that on our show notes page at learnspanishconsalsa.com/238. And you can also go to PuertoRicanSpanish101.com. As always, I hope something that you've heard in this episode has helped you go one step closer from Spanish beginner to bilingual. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you for listening to the Learn Spanish con Salsa podcast at learnspanishconsalsa.com.